If you've been keeping up to date with the gaming news, then you'll have heard the rumours about the new, more powerful PS4 that's in the works. While Sony haven't said anything official yet, many people are expecting them to announce the successor of the PS4 sometime later this year, potentially even as early as E3. So how exactly will this new PS4 be different? Well, according to an article from Kotaku, this PS4 will include an upgraded GPU, both to support high-end 4K resolution for games and add more processing power that can enhance the games supported by PlayStation VR. Other sources claim the original PS4 will still be able to play games developed for the newer machine, albeit with considerable sacrifices made to performance. While this info is certainly interesting, it's also kind of alarming. Sony has a huge lead this console generation with an install base of over 36 million and rising, so why they would think it's a smart move to seemingly abandon the PS4 so early in its life cycle is anyone's guess. Nevertheless, new hardware is exciting, and with so much experience in the console market, it's hard to see where things could go wrong. Oh, yeah, right. Come to think of it, have hardware upgrades, add-ons and stopgap solutions ever been successful? Okay, so the PS4.5 does sound like a new standalone unit, and not just some flimsy add-on, but it's still basically the same idea. The reasons these systems failed is because people like the simplicity that comes along with console gaming. It's exactly the opposite of PC gaming. They don't want to upgrade and tinker under the hood. People buy them because they offer a plug-and-play solution that requires minimal effort once set up. And that's always been the appeal of console gaming. You sacrifice flexibility for peace of mind. Consoles offer considerable value as well. You'd be hard-pressed building a gaming PC that has comparable performance to a PS4 for the same money as a PS4. And while the PS4 may not be cutting edge, you won't need to worry about upgrading it for at least a few years. At least that's been the thinking until now. Having different spec consoles in the same generation is likely to be confusing for everybody except the hardcore gamers. People less invested in gaming culture as you and I will assume everything will just work, and this can lead to confusion and lack of trust when they don't. I mean, look at Nintendo. One moment they're king of the world, and the next they're struggling to compete. And that was because people didn't understand the difference between the Wii U and the Wii. So imagine explaining how a PS4.5 is different, but still kind of the same as the original PS4. It's a mess. It's also a giant fuck you to anyone who has an original PS4. The last generation of consoles lasted for 7 years, and while this is obviously the exception and not the rule, I think it's fair to say that most console owners don't expect to be upgrading every couple of years. New hardware being released rapidly adds uncertainty because you don't know if what you have will be current or even usable in the near future. Who's to say that they stop at the PS4.5 and there's not a better version again in a couple of years? Suddenly that relatively inexpensive advantage that console gaming once had is gone, and if this is the case, why not just get a gaming PC? At least in this scenario, the cost and rate at which you upgrade is totally within your control. Games is another area of concern. This new hardware will have a smaller install base because you can't guarantee everybody who owns a PS4 will upgrade, at least not straight away. This means that there's considerably more risk involved for publishers and developers when creating games for the new platform. Less users equals less sales, and unless the new hardware is a runaway success, this will result in less support and less games. If the PS4.5 has truly been designed to provide 4K support and a superior VR experience, then Sony is making a huge assumption that both of those technologies will be popular enough to justify this new hardware by the time it launches. I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone who has a 4K screen or is even thinking of upgrading to one anytime soon. I mean, have you seen the prices of these screens? They're not cheap, right? Also, while VR has certainly come a long way, and I'll pay that it does look pretty cool, at $549 it's still an expensive investment for most people, and it's not going to be affordable to everyone who owns a PS4. The reality is that VR is not going to become mainstream anytime soon because of the cost, complexity and space required to use it. It's too hardcore for the average gamer, and because of this it may struggle to become as ubiquitous as even the Kinect. I think VR is here to stay, and undoubtedly the technology will become more affordable as time goes on, much like 3D TVs. But much like 3D, I don't think everyone will have it, or want it for that matter. Anyway, I digress. VR is a topic for a whole other video. The final baffling part of this story is just how damaging the premature announcement of a new product can be for the current model in regards to sales. This is known as the Osborne effect and was largely responsible for the death of the Saturn when Sega announced the development of the Dreamcast just 2 years after the Saturn's release. Now, the Saturn arguably had a whole host of other problems, but the impact of the Dreamcast's announcement saw a dramatic and almost instant drop in both sales and support from developers for the system. Sony is a huge multinational with many years of marketing experience, and they probably have a very well-paid marketing team, so why they would risk damaging their current power position within console gaming boggles the mind. At this stage, all we can do is wait and see if the rumours are true, and if they are, what this new console means for existing PS4 owners. I can't see myself investing in another console anytime soon, particularly if the major advantage is VR, but let me know how you feel about this. Are you ready for a new PS4? And if so, why? Anyway, drop me your thoughts below. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'm out.